what I really like about software is that you can legitimately change the world with it, and that's kind of like what I'm looking to do. So you asked before about e-commerce, about dropshipping. Maybe this is something that is just a stepping stone to like get me to the next level, to get me to like the bigger industries, change the world, have impact, just a bit more kind of thing.
You're listening to Ecommerce, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. Kyle Dayne's software solution, SaleSource, is a proud continuation of the core catalyst that compels so many to commit to commerce. Need a problem solved? Solve it. Then scale it to solve for others. In fairness, we've had a number of dropship services along these lines, but it's important that we discover as many as we can. It's not enough that we engage one. We should know which is the exact fit for us. So listen on, because SaleSource is a true contender. Kyle Dayne, it is good to have you here. Thank you for joining us in Ecommerce. How's it going today? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm feeling pretty relaxed at home. We've been doing pretty well with the company lately as well. Got a big commercial coming up. So overall, I'm doing pretty great.
That's good to hear. For the interest of transparency, I'm not much of a relaxed person. I'm a bit hardwired. I'm a bit neurotic. So, I do my best to get through it. But when I do get those windows of relaxation, oh my goodness, does it feel good? So for that, I congratulate you. Well, let's get the ball rolling with our traditional starting question. Tell us, Kyle, who you are and what you do.
So I'm Kyle Dayne. I'm 22 years old and I'm the founder of SaleSource. I've been a successful dropshipper in the past, but my main forte is like software innovation, creating companies, creating technology. And that's kind of what I like to do. Help people sell online, but more from a software perspective, more from a perspective where we're going to give you something that's going to easily simplify. It's like the magic pill, basically. Of course, there is no magic pill, but to make your journey really easy with some nice software, some beautiful user experience, that's kind of like what we want to do. That's kind of like what I like to do.
If somebody had when somebody had described a sleep pill to me, a sleeping pill is like the closest thing to a magic pill so far, because if they work really well, you get to sleep and you get to have crazy dreams. So I think that's the closest that we've gotten. So that's pretty cool. Now, before I ask you about SaleSource, because I want to get kind of like into the meat of how it works, one thing that intrigued me from your introduction is the software innovation. Now, do you aspire to work exclusively in the e-commerce space, or did you want to check out other industries as well?
I definitely have a lot of things that interest me. And in the future, I think like there's a lot of cool new industries that are coming up, like anti-aging, human-computer interaction. Elon Musk is doing some exciting stuff with Neuralink. So there's a lot of exciting stuff, but I think for now, e-commerce is what I'm currently focused on. But yeah, in the future, I really want to look into some of these cool areas that interest me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they can figure out a way to get me to be a little less neurotic, I might sign up for the beta. So give us the pitch for SaleSource, how it came into being, and what our listeners need to know to be acquainted with the product, or I should say service. I believe it's more SaaS.
It kind of came as a result of me dropshipping myself. And then I wanted to create like a product that was going to be used just for me, just to help me find like the best suppliers, just to give me a competitive edge. Because when you're dropshipping, you don't know who is selling a product, how much is this product selling? What are good products to sell? What is the cheapest supplier? Like, there's no answer to all of these questions. There's no answer. And there was no softwares that were providing, good answers to these questions. So for me, I created like a bunch of Python scripts, created a database on my end. I was running it on my laptop at the time. And I started scraping data and having a look at the trends. And that really helped me. And I decided at the end of the day that I would make something to help other people succeed in the e-commerce journey, because I owe a lot of my success to just e-commerce dropshipping. It gave me the money so that I could start my software. So without dropshipping, I wouldn't have been able to afford to like do any of this. So that's kind of like the underlying story of SaleSource. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty great. And it's a consistent theme that I hear in talking to guests is that dropshipping is always like a great way to start gathering those initial resources so that people can branch out and use
I
that
thought, I
capital
thought,
to make their way.
I honestly thought it was a joke, like in the beginning. Like, I thought, oh, you can like make money online, but you don't actually have to like buy the products like until someone makes a sale. Like, is this a joke? And I got like 200 euros from my grandmother, God bless her, and then
Mhm.
I just started like my first store. Took about a week to like make it, and then it was an instant hit. Maybe I got lucky, but or maybe I just had like a good like market insight, like a good sense of kind of like what would sell. And I think that's the cool thing about dropshipping is if you think something will sell, you can easily prototype a website and test it in like a week, 2 weeks, and start making money, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say too, because I learned about dropshipping and proper when I was brought into the company. But the previous job that I was working at technically was doing dropshipping, and I didn't even realize it. People would
Yeah.
order products, and then we would source those products from authorized dealers. So we never had it ourselves, and that allowed us to save a lot of the money on it. So I think we've seen variations of this business model, but I think the term dropshipping in particular is something that people had to get used to. Now, as for your initial business, I know what it is essentially because I read your interview on Medium. You got into a vegan clothing store as your first shop, and yeah, it took off. So, like, what were some of the things that you did? I mean, I know you were doing your research for it, just based on what you've described so far. But yeah, tell us about how well this went.
Yeah, so I decided that I would do, vegan clothing because I just had this like idea in my head that vegans are like very, very passionate about kind of like what they believe in. Now, I'm not personally vegan myself, but I think like if you want to like say that, I'm vegan, and tell the world about it, then, that's fair enough. And you should be able to do that. And I think I basically looked on AliExpress. I typed in the keyword vegan and there's a
Hmm.
lot of like interesting bunch of products and there aren't too many, so there wasn't too much choice. And the first one I did was like this vegan ring. Like I did this free just pay shipping thing that like you can get this ring for free, you just have to pay shipping. Of course it's not true because the cost of the item is included within the shipping, and then also the
Hmm.
profit margin is included in the shipping. And I posted a shout out on this guy's Instagram page. He had like 700K followers. It's called Vegan Community. Probably the shout out is still there if you go down to his like posts. I negotiated with him to get the shout out for £100. And in the first day, I think I made around $3,000 from 150 orders, not just the ring. I advertised the ring. It was like this Instagram post, and it said like, "Hey, free vegan ring. Click here, get yours now." I made it in Canva, and I kind of like just took off, and I was amazed. Honestly, I was shocked because it was like 1 a.m. when the shout out like hit, and I couldn't sleep all night. Like I was just staying up, like looking at the Shopify notification thing on my phone, which is kind of exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically how I started, and from there I was addicted. Like I that was it. That was it. That was past the point of no return.
Yeah, vegan. I mean, we don't spend too much time on the vegan ring, but I'm just. I mean, I assume that most rings are not made from
It's
animals.
not.
So
It's not. It's not the fact that it was. It's like I don't know if I can. Yeah. It was like a ring.
yeah.
It was vegan, of course, like, but it was also it had like a V on it, and the V, the one of the tips of the V was like shaped, like had a leaf on the end of it, and it had like this like green gemstone, like green vegan gemstone. It was a really
Okay.
nice ring, and you could get it in like silver and gold. And I don't know, like if you're vegan, I suppose it's just like a cool little accessory to have. So that ring really took off. It really took
Okay.
off.
Yeah, I'm a visual guy, so I can actually picture it in my head and like, oh, yeah, okay, that actually looks kind of cool. And then of course I go off in this flight of fancy where I'm wondering if I collect another like 7 of those from, and then I put them together and I gain superpowers. But I'll let that go. So let's go back to SaleSource. So I understand from the video, like the video introduction for it, that there are some different ways that SaleSource analyzes products. I want you to go through them for our audience. One of them I know is you can upload a photo, and then they examine the photo for how that photo is relevant on search engines. But I don't fully comprehend it, so I'm hoping you'll pull me out of this.
Basically, the way it works is this is like quite a common technique used by a lot of fashion retailers nowadays. Like even Amazon uses it. AliExpress uses it, a lot of fashion retailers use it, and it's like basically a reverse image search, but only within a certain product database. So, for example, you could say we have 100 million products from AliExpress, and then we want to find all of the suppliers in there, but we want to find them by image, right? So, that's where the machine learning kind of like comes in. And then once we get an image match, we can show you all of the suppliers. But also, equally, what we can do is we can show you as well, if we search for images on the web, also all of the other competitor stores selling that product. So instantly you're going to get all of the suppliers, find what's the best price, what's the best shipping, who else is selling the product in terms of competitors. And I think for dropshippers, that's honestly invaluable information. Like you have to know that before you start selling a product. Don't just like sell something willy-nilly without knowing how you can make the max profit, where you can get it shipped from, and also other people selling your product. You can see, are people actually making money with this? Is this saturated? Is it not? And stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I just want to hone in on in regards to the images is I'm intrigued as to how the image, what information they're actually pulling. Like, do they look at the visual data of the pixel by pixel, and then they can find that image match, or is it the URL, or if the images are tagged?
It's the visual image data. So they used to do this with like hashing, like they used to create like an image hash. But now with like deep learning, you can do some more advanced like image recognition stuff. It is a bunch of statistics. It's like, do we have like a correlation between this image and the colors in this image and that image? It's a bunch of like vectors and like matrices. But at the end of the day, it works quite well. I think it is fairly accurate. And, where it does make a mistake, like I think it can be forgiven because it's accurate most of the time. That's the thing with AI, like it can be accurate 99.81% of the time. And if it's in a self-driving car, not so good. But 99.1 is pretty good for like, basically like image search online. No one's getting hurt there. So yeah.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Not as much damage is done. I mean, even manually driven cars, there are still plenty of accidents that go on there. And one thing that I know it can seem a bit mystifying being able to pull up other images on the web, but if you really break it down to the core essence, is that all images on a visual display are comprised of pixels. So even the most beautiful, 8K equivalent in photography image, the more you zoom in, eventually you'll get back to a grid of square by squares, each one taking a different color. So yeah, so the resource is certainly there. That's pretty cool. Now, we don't get to talk about machine learning too much on the show, just because we don't have as many people who are like inclined into software and programming. So your expertise on that is something that I'm looking forward to. I anticipate over time we'll be able to talk about it more as machine learning becomes something more integrated into our collective understanding. But how is machine learning integrated into SaleSource?
Well, chiefly, I would say it's the image search, but then we also have more stuff like with the sales volume. So, for example, as I've said in another interview somewhere, it's not exactly possible to find out how much the store is making, but we can make like a good estimate and then benchmark stores against each other, and we use machine learning in order to do that. And the sense, the sense that I get is that if we do it this way, at least it's going to become more and more accurate over time rather than just like staying the same. So that's the nice thing about it. We take some of these metrics like from Alexa Web Information Services and SimilarWeb, to get some traffic data, which is very important. And then
Mhm.
we get actual real data from stores, as in, their average order value, which you can find from best-selling products, which you can also see on SaleSource. And then there is a bit of estimation in the center, for the conversion rate. Obviously, conversion rate varies wildly, but you can use some wildcards, like industry standard conversion rates from Google Analytics and stuff like that, which is publicly available also. And this is kind of like the data that we use. And then we feed it into our algorithm, and then we see how accurate the predictions are, based on the stores of the users that we have coming into SaleSource. And that's how kind of we refine our algorithm.
Well, so I'm trying to parse how much of this is manually done on your team end,
It's
and how
all
much of
automatic.
it is
It's
it's all manual.
It's all automatic. All
Oh, all
automatic.
automatic. Oh, okay.
Literally all automatic. Yeah, it all happens. It all happens like magic in the background. Nobody, we have a team of about 8 people, 6 in the office, and
Mhm.
we do everything automatically. Like everything is algorithmically based. Everything is advanced as it can be. Everything we try and go for a best practice thing, because I think manually is not scalable anymore.
Mhm.
Like we want to create some scalable infrastructure, so eventually SaleSource can be the number one platform for selling online, not just dropshipping.
Right. So now, I hope this is a fair question, but are you also prepped for beginners, for people who don't quite understand this and they do need a lot of guidance in order to make their decision and get into a
Yeah,
profitable position?
I think Salesforce is designed for beginners. I wouldn't say it's necessarily designed for people who don't know anything about drop shipping, don't know anything about e-commerce. I think you have to have a tiny bit of prerequisite knowledge.
Sure.
But the basic stuff, like finding a product at its cheapest price from the best supplier that's going to get you faster shipping, is key to e-commerce. Like it's key to drop shipping, because that's the most important thing. Lowest price, biggest profit, right? Best shipping time, most satisfied customers, less refunds. Easily, right? Find out the competitors selling a given product. And also with a store analyzer, of course, you can see how much money a store is making, and also see their best selling products. So for market research, if you're going to make a qualified decision without spending thousands of dollars on Facebook ads, Salesforce is definitely, the product to use.
Yeah, and one way I would characterize it, hearing your answer, is that it's beginner friendly. That doesn't necessarily mean that people with advanced knowledge and more experience can't use it. It just means that the barrier for entry is a lot lower. So that's one way that
I
I would.
think of single moms. I think of people working from home. I think of teenagers, like I was when I started, obviously, not necessarily, able to use the most advanced software all the time. We don't want to overcomplicate things. We want to go for a nice user experience, a nice clean UI, so that we can make a platform for everyone to sell online, because at the end of the day, that's kind of where we're headed with this whole pandemic thing. Everybody likes selling online now. Everybody's interested in the idea of having an online business. That is the future, I think.
I think so too. I mean, even in my own family, one of my cousin and her mom, which would be my zia, which is Italian for aunt, for those of you who don't know, which I assume are many. Both of them have different prospects for business. One of them makes these products, these little clay sculptures. They're very cute. She hasn't selling them online yet, but she certainly could, and it would be low scale, but she can certainly do it. And then my cousin, she's setting up her own store as well. So I think this is something that it can get to a point where basically everybody can have a business. Everybody can have something that they're doing to trade with others, and they might not necessarily even be doing it for money. They could just be doing it for other favors or for other reasons too. So I definitely agree with you on that one. I mean, I think at some point it'll be safe to go to the water park again, but I also think that it's hopefully because I've got $300 in credit at Great Wolf Lodge, and I'll be damned if I don't get to use it. And so, but even so, I think there's this heightened understanding that, the world is a dangerous place and you're always taking a risk with everything, right? There's always going to be a potential for illness. So people are going to be more careful, but people are also going to really utilize their own home space. And once people realize you can just ship it from from a supplier. So it's great. It's exciting times despite all of the negativity. But let's keep powering through this. So you have to forgive me if we've like semi-answered this question based on some of the information you've provided, but I think it's worth asking again just so that we give it like a fair block of time. But what is the activity that you look for when studying the competition? If you want to put yourself in the position of like your dropshipper and like what information you want to look at as a green light.
Specifically the competition.
Yeah.
Okay, so mainly I'm going to look at some of these more interesting stores. I'm going to look at their recently uploaded products, right? Because if people are uploading things recently, it's probably a product that's more likely to be trending now. And if it's a product that's more likely to be trending now from a store, that has succeeded in the past, say their monthly revenue is maybe 100,000 to 200,000 US dollars a month, which SaleSource will tell you. You can then go and have a look, see, do these products have product videos? Do these products have media that I can kind of leverage to create some kind of ads and then actually sell this product myself? Obviously, SaleSource does that as well. With the product analyzer, you don't just get all of the suppliers and competitors. You actually get the product images and the videos. And we haven't even spoken about the Chrome extension yet, which is also where you can get like a lot of really nice data and download it instantly like that. See, a lot of people don't know, but you can download all the AliExpress images like that, videos like that, just with the Salesforce Dominus Chrome extension. So mainly I am looking to see a product that's been recently uploaded that I think is like a novel idea and that I think I could easily target to a certain market segment, whether it be, people in like the construction industry, for those indestructible shoes, whether it be, people staying at home for like a projector that's like a movie projector that you can like put to your ceiling and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I've seen those.
1080p projector, or the starlights, the galaxy lamp that like makes your room like looks like a galaxy or something like that. There's a bunch of really cool products that, recently trend, and especially in lockdown, like, home products have really, really been trending recently.
Yeah. So touching on trending products, this question is in two parts. So what should people have at the ready to act on these winning products? Actually, I guess that is one. Let me, we'll cut that. I'll just ask it again. So because products are popular for a limited time and there are trends, so how do people act on these winning products as soon as possible before the window of opportunity shuts off?
So again, I hate to plug SaleSource again, but
do it. I mean, that's the core of the episode. By all means, as much as you like.
So basically, SaleSource, we have a feed called Trending Products, and they disappear, right? So not everybody can access them all the time. Like you can't just go back in the archive, and you can see when they were uploaded. And we show the most recently uploaded products first. So if it was uploaded 1 hour ago, 2 hours ago, in fact, on Shopify, you can even see products that are about to be uploaded in the future. So we even show you that, right? So we can show you products that are going to be uploaded. So now you can get the insider scoop, the insider trading kind of perspective on, what products are coming out and should I sell them or not. So I would definitely suggest having a look at that, because there is actually no other way to like find them. Like if you look at AliExpress recently uploaded, fair enough, but also you don't know if that product's been uploaded in the past on AliExpress, and same thing on Shopify. But SaleSource is going to show you exactly what products are coming out and when, based on data from like millions of stores.
Awesome. And is it looking specifically at maybe like in addition to AliExpress, like where is it finding the products from?
Mainly for trending products, actually, we look at Shopify. We look at recently uploaded products on Shopify, because you can find out like when a product has been uploaded, and then if you sort kind of like by date, you can see on AliExpress, it's only half of the puzzle. And then Shopify is like the marketing side of the puzzle. So AliExpress is maybe like the supplier side of the puzzle, right? And there's some cool data you can look at there as well. So you can look at the sales graph. You can look at the price history as well with the Chrome extension. So if the price is going up, maybe you can tell like this is a popular product, I should probably start selling it now. Or you can like say, oh, these guys are jacking up the price, let me find a different supplier. Same with the sales graph, right? If the sales are going up, and you can see also who the top buyers are. So if you see like a bunch of buyers from the USA, one guy from the USA has like 100 orders or something like that, then that's probably an indication that somebody's drop shipping this product and they're being successful with it. So two halves of the puzzle, right? We've got yin yang, Shopify, AliExpress. So Shopify more of the marketing side, AliExpress is kind of like more of the supply side.
That makes sense too. Yeah. So like Shopify would be another way to characterize it: Shopify front end, AliExpress back end. Because I mean, yes, people could go to AliExpress and buy things directly, but I think buying directly from AliExpress, maybe it's just the trust factor, especially here in the West. The idea of buying it off AliExpress is like, okay,
AliExpress is probably one of the safest platforms to buy from. Like, they have a lot of checks, and they also put the money in like an escrow. So the Chinese people who are selling the products to you, don't really get to access their money until the order has gotten to a certain stage of processing, in case like you open a dispute. So it is actually quite safe to order from AliExpress. Another thing, I mean, aside from like the bait and switch stuff, but that has never really happened to me. Another thing about AliExpress that's quite interesting is that most of the people who sell on AliExpress are middlemen as well. So basically, they'll have like an office in China. They won't actually own any of the products themselves, and they'll just order in bulk or a single product from the factory to their office in China and then ship it to you, right? So basically, they're drop shipping to you, which is quite interesting. That's exactly why they can add like any sort of arbitrary markup that they want, and that's why it's really nice to be able to see all of the suppliers, because then you can see, oh, this is actually closer to the core factory price of the product. I'm going to buy it for that. But yeah, that's that.
Yeah, well, that's important that you point that out. I mean, I have ordered stuff off AliExpress because when we talked before the recording that we both have a gaming hobby, and I like to order buttons. So I got into modifying gaming controllers for a little bit, and until I realized I'm terrible at it.
I like stickers, like anime stickers. Like I bought like a bunch of them, and you get like 50 stickers for like £2.
Yeah,
which is like $3. Like fucking amazing. Like yeah, you can get some cool stuff on AliExpress, honestly.
I bought some of the, just a tangent, just for like a second, like some of the controllers that I bought directly from there turned out to be pretty decent quality, and even had some of the tactile feedback was actually better. Like when you'll feel like a soft press on a button versus like a hard press where you feel like a click to it.
Yeah.
Some of the AliExpress controllers had that nice click.
Some good tactile feedback, by the way. This has got some good tactile feedback. Sorry for the guys who are like on the video call. I was holding a PS5 controller. I just got mine today. Very excited. Anyway,
one question for you about that. Did you get it directly, or did you have to get it from a flipper on eBay?
My mother, God bless her, pre-ordered it for me. She stayed up 3 hours. She was like refreshing. Finally, she ordered it. And yeah, she sent it to me, and I couldn't be more grateful. So finally, I have the PS5, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. We'll get back to the content, by the way. But I just saw a meme where it was like an argument from a Disney movie. I think the Emperor's New Clothes. It's like, hey, do you got a retro Xbox 360? Xbox 360 is not retro, bro. Xbox 360 came out 15 years ago.
15 years ago. Yeah. That's mad. That's true. Yeah. I remember because I had it. And yeah,
but these things they don't feel retro. I think because like when I think retro, I think like 2D side scrolling, and there's a very clear marker.
PS4 doesn't feel retro. Like that was 9 years ago. That's like 10 years ago. If you say like 10 years ago, I have like a PS4 Pro here, and like it looks like brand new. So anyway,
even Champions of North on the PS2 holds up. Okay, that was it. That was everything.
Okay,
I'll let it go. Yeah. All right. So one of your main mantras is focusing on customer experience. I've seen this from Instagram and Twitter, and it's something that is very prominently promoted on your socials. So more specifically, what do you do to accomplish this, and what do you recommend people do to accomplish this?
Okay, I think when you have a business, you're serving the customers, right? And it's really
Yeah.
nice in a business because it's not like having like a relationship with like a friend. It's not like having a relationship with like a lover. It's like actually you can give way more to the customers. You can give so much value to your customers and have it be like this kind of like really cool relationship where you're kind of like in the shadows, but then you're still like changing their lives and like really providing some cool stuff to them. So the main thing that we do is providing 24/7, customer service. On the weekends as well. Another thing that we've got is our brilliant UI and UX designers that really looking into how the customers are using the product with tools like Lucky Orange, to see
Hmm.
where things can be improved, making the product look really nice and clean, and just having like a very beautiful UI, working on, improvements in speed and reliability, and also, providing customers like with a bunch of different features to accomplish the same goal, not just, saying, here's one feature, have that. So really, I just want to give as much value to the customers as possible.
You also advise dropshippers to leverage Pinterest and Reddit for their
For sure.
marketing. Now, Pinterest we've talked about in the past. We've had a couple of people who are Pinterest experts, and I'll hear your take on it too. But Reddit is new to us. I
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to talk to anybody
I,
about
I
Reddit and the Reddit
so
ecosystem.
I did advertising for one of my second stores, which is like a streetwear, like Japanese clothing inspired store. And I made 55% profit just by advertising on Reddit, on like all the streetwear subreddits and everything. And that's it. Like that's all I've got to say. Like 55% profit, like way more profitable than Facebook ads, and nobody else is doing it. So, like it was dirt cheap to get people on the site, and the traffic doesn't convert as highly as Facebook, because people on Reddit maybe don't like being advertised to. But in terms of the overall profitability, it was very profitable and very, very, there's no competition there. So why not try it? Like it won't work for all the niches, but the nice thing about Reddit is that they have these things called subreddits, which is like a little community for something. Say there's
Yeah.
one for like London, the city that I'm in right now, or say there's one for like Super Smash Brothers. There's one for Demon Souls. There's one for the PS5. There's one for basically anything that you can think of, and you can hyper target the people in that community who you already know are passionate. So I did like streetwear, from on my end.
Yeah, one thing I'll tag on to Reddit too is that however specific you think you can go, Reddit will surprise you. So
Yeah, you can
you
go all
mentioned Super
specific.
Smash Brothers, but there's like subreddits for each of the games.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
subreddits for
yeah,
each of the characters. There's
yeah.
subreddits for the competitive scene, then for like the true competitive scene. So it goes as I think it's probably one of the most niche community. Like it's not a community in of itself, but it's a platform for niche communities.
There's this anime that I watched called Legend of the Galactic Heroes. It's not niche, but within the anime world, it kind of is niche. But that subreddit that has like 5,000 followers, which is like nothing, and like that is the only place I can find to like quality content on one of my favorite animes. Another one called Valence, which is like technical performance outdoor gear, 3.8k subscribers that I follow because I really like their clothes. Yeah, like there are some really, really cool communities on Reddit. Really cool.
Yeah, I would recommend if people don't have a Reddit account. I hate to say this, but Reddit is a bit political. So, but you
Yeah,
can
it's
curate it so
political, but
you
you
can
can like unsubscribe from what I have
yeah.
no politics. It's just stuff that I really like in front of me. Like you can subscribe to only things that you like, and you don't have to like deal with the political stuff. And if you feel political one day, maybe you can go to like r/all where you can see like all of the posts. I tend not to do that because Reddit is like getting more and more political, especially than it was before.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's still a great platform. And if I have like 5 minutes to spare, normally I go on Reddit.
Yeah, and one last plug for Reddit, and then we'll move on. But what you'll find too is it really validates a person's lifestyle choices, and for me, like I like
Yeah.
spiders, right? So the idea of being able to go to a subreddit for other people who are enthusiastic about it, you can make some connections there that you just can't get, not even at a library. So one last thing I just want to know, maybe in terms of the process. So I think when a lot of people, they think of like promoting something on Reddit, they think that they're going to have to like join the community and become a participant and start to talk to other people, which would be helpful, mind you, but you don't have to do that, right? You can just like pay
No, no,
for an
it's
ad to
just
be
ads.
displayed.
Like, I think you need a Reddit account, but other than that, like Reddit is really trying to push like the revenue kind of model. They've got a bunch of investors now. Everybody sees like, oh, Reddit is this platform that we can make money off of. It's very popular, and it is popular. And most of the people that use it are from the United States, which is what makes it like really, really good to sell products to. I think especially high ticket products would do amazing on Reddit. Hyper niche, hyper targeted, expensive products with Reddit ads, you will destroy it. Like honestly, so you can have these. There's a bunch of different ads you can do, but if you visit Reddit and you see like the ads on the top, they're very like unintrusive, but it's like a text ad with like a little 64 pixel by 64 pixel image. And that can work really well. Like especially if the stuff that you're selling again is like hyper targeted, hyper niche, like you can make a lot of money on Reddit. Trust me.
Yeah, and then one other point I want to make too about it is that they're in the same way that Google ads are presented similar but not exactly like organic search results. The ads
The
they
ad
have
hoc
this.
posts. Yeah.
Yeah, and so people can comment on the ads too. So that gives people a way to directly interact with the brand as well.
Yeah.
Great
And you
refresher
can
course. I
disable
Yeah.
comments as well. So yeah.
Yeah. If you don't, if you don't want to hear the feedback, but
Oh,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
can
it's a.
do GIFs and images as well. We did one with like Mark Zuckerberg and like a picture of like a sheep, and like it's like a GIF, and it like slices between the two images, and it's like uncanny how similar they look. And it says like don't be a drop sheep, use SaleSource, for your e-commerce business, which is pretty funny.
Mhm. And I think people typically don't mind people taking shots at the Zuck. Uh,
It's
Actually,
funny. It's funny. You can even like post like derogatory ads about Mark Zuckerberg on his own platform. Like I've seen so many ads that they like shrink his face, or they like make his eyes like really small, and he looks like a buffoon. And then it's like, you know, don't let Zuck mess over your Facebook ads. Use our Facebook ads platform. And like, I'm surprised they even let that. But I guess Mark Zuckerberg, as long as he's making money, doesn't mind his own image of
yeah.
being tarnished.
Well, it's brand retention, right? Because it's still bringing up Facebook and it's reinforcing it. Because that's if people don't want to use Facebook, they'll get off it. But otherwise, you can see that kind of stuff all day, and people are addicted to it. Actually, it's funny enough because one of the things I wanted to ask you about was because I saw from some of your socials is that people get their Facebook ad accounts disabled, and I'm primarily asking this out for the fun of it, because from what I understand, there are 100,000 reasons why a Facebook ad can get disabled. So, like, what are some of the causes that you've seen transpire?
It's mainly, listen, with those, like, it's mainly just been automated flags. Like, basically, something weird will happen. Someone will leave a weird comment, or something like, unusual will happen. And it triggers the algorithm, and the algorithm disables your account. There's typically never, like, because there's so many ad accounts, so many ads being run, I don't think, like, it's ever really due to a violation at first. It's only when a person actually manually reviews your account that a violation is then found. Now, don't quote me on this. I think that's it. But it's the main stuff is like, if you're selling copyrighted products, do not do that. You'll get your account disabled straight away. And if you're like, doing like anything with nudity, or something that goes against like you know Facebook's guidelines. But most of the time, Facebook just likes to disable people's ad accounts for no reason, and then take ages to re-enable them. So yeah, thanks Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, we were
Google
doing some
Google
tests and
Ads Google Ads is much better in that way. Like Google Ads, I've never had any problems with them. So yeah, maybe Google Ads is like the savior from Mark Zuckerberg. But we use both platforms. I think it's important to like leverage as many advertising platforms as you can, and just don't go overboard with them.
yeah, that's fair. And also, I think too, with people who are selling their, you correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think there is a different level of commitment for a company if they're going to sell on Google ads, because people are searching for results on Google, so they are a little bit more warm to the results that they'll find. Whereas I think Facebook, by the way, as a customer, like I've ordered stuff from Facebook ads and the product never even arrived at my door. So I have seen like some varying degrees of commitment on Facebook, people selling on Facebook versus results on Google.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So next one I got ready for you.
Let me just chip in.
Sure.
The nice thing about actually using SaleSource is that you don't only use it for actually like, supplying products. What you can actually do is use it for shopping yourself. So if you're on like a Shopify store, it'll tell you first of all, and then second of all, you can like analyze the product straight from the Shopify store with the Chrome extension. So actually, if you're on any store and you can find the product cheaper, SaleSource is going to tell you. As long as you analyze it, you can like see what the real price of the product is, which is pretty cool, right?
Oh yeah. So then you just use that information and buy it yourself. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Helps you save money on it. Right. Yeah, I'll take that. That's a pretty cool feature. But so here's one for you. So this is another one I got from your interview on Medium. You use SaleSource to help people find untapped niches. So when I hear this, what I'm reading is that there are niches that, well, people don't really hear about. We hear about pets, we hear about jewelry, we hear about fashion, home living, obviously very popular. But like, what are some of the ones that people might not know about or might not hear about?
So niches that people don't hear about is generally stuff like that you wouldn't understand unless you were kind of like in that lifestyle. Like for example, the one that I like to bring up is like building materials, like stuff for like building or DIY that helps you do like some niche task. Like there's one that helps you like, in the bathroom. I'm not a DIY guy, so I might sound very wrong about this, but in the bathroom, there's these, you can like use like this filler thing to like fill in gaps, like between the walls so that water doesn't get behind and like cause some like damage. And there's this like tool that you can use that like strips any excess material from that. And that one, this product like got so many sales and I didn't even understand it. Another one like that was quite interesting for me was like all of these like custom products that you could drop ship. Like you can do like drop shipping coffee. You can like make your own coffee brand, like custom coffee drop shipping. And there was like this other store that was like all in Japanese, but it was like trending products sold by like this guy from Portugal, because I actually managed to find out who owned the store, and he basically paid to get his entire store translated to Japanese, and he sold the same products as everyone else, just to the Japanese audience, and obviously they'd never seen them before, so that really took off. So all of these like creative, like untapped, like marketing strategies are things that you can like do to like get ahead in the dropshipping game.
Translating all into the Japanese. I just want to ask like one more question about that too. But like, did he have to get like a Japanese speaking VA in order to handle customer service? Because you would think he's going to have to.
You would think. Yeah, you would think. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure about that because yeah, but I just thought it was interesting, like that his store was like taking off because this is what I mean. As soon as you see a store in a different language, some people's brains just turn off. Oh, that's not for me, or I can't understand it. But really, you should be looking at opportunity because if a store's in another language and it's making a lot of money, then like think about it. Like it might be a good idea.
It depends on motivation too. I know I've been to some Japanese websites, depending on what I'm looking for. Okay. Oh, so here's what I'm curious about. Because I know you offer a 7-day trial, and I'm asking about like the logistics of it, or how for expectation's sake, how much can people pull off in that 7-day trial to the point where maybe they can actually like afford the plan thereafter, or is it just to kind of like feel around and then do you think you can pull anything off?
You can like you can like definitely pull something off. You can definitely get a taste of the platform. You can analyze like 5 products, and you can analyze up to like 20 stores, which is quite a lot. Like 20 stores is, see here, let me put it this way: you can see 20 stores, the best selling products, the recently uploaded products, the apps, the theme, and how much revenue they're making, the revenue estimate monthly. So with that information, and also with the Chrome extension as well, where you can like download all the images from any AliExpress product and find, for example, the product images, product videos, you should be able to like test at least 5 products out. And I think that's enough to make 1 or 2 sales. Now, I would encourage people honestly to at least invest in dropshipping, at least $300, $500. It's not completely free. And I think a SaleSource plan is definitely a needed part of that $300 to $500.
Yeah, and I was looking at that too because there are also some vital apps, and they were budgeted at, I think it was $80. No, I would assume that would be $80 a month. Like these are monthly budgets.
Yeah, but then obviously we don't include SaleSource within that. Like
Of course,
Vital
yeah,
just
different
on the
apps.
Shopify. Yeah. Vital Apps just on the Shopify platform itself. Which actually, just a little plug, SaleSource is now also on the Shopify App Store, so you can pay through Shopify or you can come directly to us. We just wanted people to be a bit more comfortable, a bit more flexible with their billing. So we've also got that option, again, part of our agenda to make SaleSource as available as possible, get it into the hands of as many people as possible.
Yeah. So, and I'll admit too, for transparency's sake, is that, and I think I admitted this at the beginning of the episode, but I can't remember. So whatever, I'll just edit out 1 of the 2 if I have to. But me, I do want to do this too. I have my own design. So putting myself in this hypothetical scenario, what I imagine I would do is I would set up my store first. I would figure out what my niche is and like what are the general products I want to sell. So that way, when I open up SaleSource, I'm going to like look through the products and see what ones are going to fit my store, and then just get them out onto the market.
That definitely sounds good to me. You can do it either or. It's best for, I think SaleSource is best used when making a new store. If you're already paying for the plan, obviously you don't need to worry about that. But if you want to leverage a 7-day free trial in the best way possible, kind of like get an idea of your store first, and then research the products, find the best suppliers for them, find out more products to sell using SaleSource. I think that is the most efficient use. Yeah.
Okay, great. Good to keep in mind. So we got about another 10 minutes to go. We're in the final act of this saga. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was building supplier relationships. It's one of the key parts. Personally, I find it intimidating. I haven't done it yet. People tend to be intimidated by things they haven't done, and I know that SaleSource assists with this. So, what exactly what am I looking forward to in terms of getting a good supplier relationship going with the products that I'm selling? Let's just assume, and I'll characterize this with a specific item just to make it easier for people to visualize. So now that I've committed to this, but one of the items I've always enjoyed was the those lighters where you can just like keep writing the same wick over and over again, and it's made out of metal.
Okay.
Now, yeah, I like that one. I don't know, I might be too saturated by this point, but I kind of like that one anyways. I might just order it. So like, how do I build a good supplier relationship so I know I've got this consistently and I can meet with demand?
So say you've got your lighter, right? And you start selling it, it starts making sales, you're doing really well, and then all of a sudden you go to like buy the item on AliExpress again, and the price has gone up by say like 33%, and you're no longer profitable. So that wouldn't be great, would it? And unfortunately, this is the truth of like selling on AliExpress. This stuff can happen. And unless you have like a certain order volume a day, maybe like 50 orders a day or 100 orders a day of just that one product, it's also hard to find your own like dedicated supplier. Obviously, SaleSource assists with that as well. But let's just talk about the normal case, the no average person on AliExpress. They don't know that this could happen to them. Well, on SaleSource, instantly you can just press analyze product and you can find like another supplier overnight. You can just switch them like that. Oberlo has like an integration where you can switch suppliers right like that, like straight away, and then you can continue buying the product, perhaps maybe even for a lower price. So as long as SaleSource finds you different suppliers, there's no need to worry about meeting demands.
Mm-hmm. And then, well, some of it too would also be consistency in packaging too. Like one parameter I would want to set is if I expect that the packaging to be in a specific color, or if it needs to be on brand, if I would want to filter out suppliers that can or cannot meet those requirements.
So for that, it is like more of a dedicated supplier thing, and that's something that we're working on. There isn't as much demand for that, like from our customers right now. But I would say, from my experience, because I've done it before, you can get custom packaging, you can get engraving on the packaging, you can like get basically custom anything, and it's quite cheap. But you have to get directly in touch with, your own supplier on WeChat or something like that, and it's quite a difficult process, and that's why we're going to introduce kind of like 2021 SaleSource suppliers, which is going to be just what you're talking about, a massive database of suppliers from all over the world, not just China, and we're going to have like integrated communication with them within the platform, because right now it's like a very murky waters. You have to get
Mm-hmm.
WeChat, you have to get your account approved, you have to use like some VPN or something like that. Like it's very dodgy. But we're trying to make that more transparent and like really itemize and like categorize supplier relationships as well. So that for people like you who want to create like their own brand or like really take their own brand that they've got to the next level, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that you mentioned too that I think is worth just like a little bit of extra focus, because this is kind of a serious issue, is the supplier price adjustment, where
Yeah.
suppliers will just kind of like change the cost of something on the fly. But I also know that from reading some of your material is that at the end of the day, AliExpress wants their customers to have the best prices. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to, in my mind, square those two issues: is that why they're adjusting the prices versus
Well,
how they
it's
also manage to provide the best value for their buyers.
It's the suppliers, I think, that sometimes if you're getting a lot of sales, you might want to be a bit greedy and increase your prices, but there'll always be another supplier, if that product is popular, that is willing to give it to you for a cheaper price because they don't care. Like they want to make the sales after all. So the nice thing about AliExpress is like it's a competitive market, but the suppliers on AliExpress are competing for you. They're competing for your business. They're competing for your money, and they want you to order from them rather than somebody else. So that's kind of how it works.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I got two more chambered for you, and then I'll let you go. One of them is actually just I'm going to ask you a little bit about your background because I kind of want to know like what you were doing prior to this and how you discovered this, or like what you would have thought you would do otherwise. But before I do that one, this one I thought would be fun to ask just to kind of get your take on it. But one of your blog articles, you list like the top best selling products, I think of all time, or at the
Yeah.
very least of like the last significant window. Foil balloons, silver chain necklace, fishing lines, resistant bands for yoga, fake eyelashes, a
Yeah.
blackhead removal, silicone strap for Apple Watch. That one's not a surprise. Nail polish, a glass screen protector, and number one was a magnetic USB cable.
Oh yeah,
So
that one is insane. So a bit more context on these. These are only by AliExpress sales volume, so take it with a pinch of salt. But yeah, that
sure.
magnetic cable is just insane. Like it's basically a braided cable, and you can attach with like it's magnetic. You can attach any phone end to it, so it can be used with a Samsung phone. It can be used with USB Type C. It can be used with like iPhone. You just switch out the ends of it, like, and it connects magnetically. I don't know how they did this like magic, but you can imagine like that's super super popular product. Um,
Yeah, can we make any other inferences from any of these other products? Like, what is it that they have in common that seems to make them sell so well?
I think here's what it is really, and this is realistically one of the things. Like all of these products have huge markets. Like for example, the eyelashes, mascara, whatever we were talking about. It's all beauty. The nose pore remover is like beauty, a massive
Yeah.
market, a huge market, cosmetics. And then the Milanese strap for the Apple Watch and the cable is like smartphones, especially the Chinese AirPods, as I like to call them as well. The ones that look like AirPods but they're not. Also a huge market. So the ones that have like the most sales are always like a huge market. Posture corrector as well, like health and fitness, like posture, everybody's like hunched over. The ones that solve like the biggest problems in the biggest markets get the most sales, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Although I will say, I tried one of them posture correctors, and I don't recommend the Velcro ones, just because I
Yeah.
wanted to get good resistance going, and the Velcro just didn't hold up. So that's my own personal take on that. Cool.
My take on it is, don't look for a shortcut and, go work out. Like if you want posture corrected, like, don't look for a shortcut.
Yeah. Every night I lay back on my bed and I'll lay just like flat as long as I can, just to try to correct my spine. I do know, I think teeter inversion tables, I think those help out, but that is not a shortcut if you look at the price tag. One thing I just want to know about you personally is, I realized that you did talk about how you got into e-commerce at the beginning, but I want to know like how you got into programming and how that side of it intrigued you.
I've been programming since I was like 14, and I really liked it because kind of like I've been using computers all my life, and programming seemed to be like the next kind of step to take, especially to just like become more familiar with like, how computers work, stuff like that. So I started programming Python, doing like a bunch of like mathematical stuff, and I always knew it, but I kind of had this idea in my head that I needed to go to like university and do computer science, in order to really achieve my potential. But as soon as I started making money, I got into some fairly good universities, and I decided just to take the risk and just not go to uni. Like at the end of the day, and I don't regret it 2 years later. I think I've done quite well for myself. And what I really like about software is that you can legitimately change the world with it, and that's kind of like what I'm looking to do. So you asked before about e-commerce, about dropshipping. Maybe this is something that is just a stepping stone to like get me to the next level, to get me to like the bigger industries, and change the world, have impact, just a bit more kind of thing.
Yeah, that's terrific. So one part of it too, you and I think we have about a 10-year gap because I'm 31 years old. Yeah. I know I don't look it, but if you go closer, you'll start to see the gray hairs a little bit more. Now, for me, I think like the first 7 or 8 years, there was no computer access for me. It was just TV and magazines and Sega Genesis. So my first computer, we didn't do too much on it. So computers didn't imprint on me right away. Electronics didn't imprint right away, although it didn't take long. And for that, I'm grateful. But I just want to know from your perspective, it's like how quickly screens like technology got to imprint on you.
Very, very, very. So when I was like maybe 3, first used the computer, and I was like hooked.
3,
I used to use the old CRTs, and then in the early 2000s it was like the flat panels, flat panel monitors with like the big power units. I got my first iPhone when I was like 11. I got the iPhone, I think 3GS. So that was like the classic. That was a game changer. I knew this was big. I knew it was going to be so big, but I was fucking 11. If only I could have like done something about it, because I knew this was going to be big as soon as I used it. And then from there, I kind of just got onto like more laptops. But I've been, gaming, using computers all my life. It's an ecosystem like I'm really familiar with. And I think I mostly nowadays just use computers for productivity, life enhancement, ordering food, meeting interesting people, creating SaleSource and stuff like that. But I think like it's always good to have like a balance, right? You want to live the real world. So now when I'm with people, I turn my phone off, I turn my laptop off. I want to just live in the real world kind of a thing. As somebody who is like immersed in the digital ecosystem for like my whole life, like I think that living in the real world is like really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm keen on seeing what's going to happen in a few generations when I'm in my 50s and 60s, and we'll have quite a few waves of people who will be born into our digital age. I think we've got about 2 generations so far of that, and it will get to a point where every generation living on Earth will have technology of this caliber imprinted onto them pretty much right away. So we're not gonna unpack that today because we're actually out of time, but it's something to think about. It's a good takeaway, listeners. So Kyle, thanks again for your time. We're gonna give you the floor one more time. If you have any parting words of wisdom or anything that you like to share with people in general, and secondly, how people can reach out to you and how people can get started. So the floor is yours once more.
Okay. So basically, I know all of you guys listening are probably interested or know something about e-commerce. And if you haven't yet started, I highly encourage you to just do it. Don't listen to what other people say. At least try it. If you're young or even if you're a bit older, like you have nothing to lose. Like, at the end of the day, that's what they say, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Take a leap and take a bit of a risk and kind of like, live life to its fullest. Like, honestly, you probably won't regret it and you're going to learn a lot. If you want to check out SaleSource, it's salesource.io. You can have a 7-day free trial straight up. And if you want to get in touch with us, we're on all the social medias. Just SaleSource at salesource.io on Instagram, support at salesource.io. Please feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions or concerns. And yeah, honestly, I wish everybody the best of luck in their journey. And we're all kind of like striving for this goal, in life, to be happy, to be financially free, financially independent. And I think dropshipping is just one of those business models that can help you get there if you do it right. So yeah.
Excellent. All right, Kyle. It's been great talking to you. It's been great meeting you. And to our listeners, I hope you guys got a lot of good value out of this today. And we will check in with you next time. So take care. Thanks for listening. You might have found this show on any number of platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or right here on Debutify. Whatever the case, if you enjoyed this content and want to help us thrive, please take a few moments to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you think is best. We also want to hear from you, so whether you think you'd be a good guest or want to weigh in on anything related to our show, you can email podcast@debutify.com. or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Finally, this podcast is created by the passionate team at Debutify. If you're ready to take the plunge into e-commerce or are looking to up your game, head over to Debutify.com and see how it can change your life and the lives of many through what you do next.